She's the greatest discovery person who has the most generosity in her California's life, because in her way they put it on the split up for each like countries. They had to cut it up in half of the Las Californias, between which it is Alta California and Baja California, since they were not even treated since the during the war that happened between the early 1800s, when they become as Baja California and Alta California. Well, it's been many years when they have some issues, but the capital that has been there before was Loreto, because they even have some certain years when they have here before the Las Californias. Then it was Monterey. Monterey was always the great place to have here before. But the capital of Alta California is all everything that's going to be like a greatest place you ever live. But you might know all these great cities, but San Luis Obispo was a blessing church right there. But don't discover this, because if you haven't been like this before, like that before, the most of the blessings of the capitals, it's almost close as the Sacramento's, because Sacramento's is like one of the biggest cities that they haven't built in before. They built in by the Americans, and I just don't know why Americans can build. I'm like, like Native Americans and Spanish people, they can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they wanted for money when they have to build more cities or all kind of stuff. Because architects is just more important in here, because they just want to have this country to put everything what they needed. Especially have to build wagons and plus the wheels. Well, that's what they wanted, because you need to have to understand how kind of the illegalized road life is about. And plus, marijuana has been discovered by here. That wasn't a long time ago, but you might get the notice, because you had to find out. This is the most discovered thing ever. If you want to find out how Las Californias can become from, and also the Alta California, you have to buy the book that is on Amazon. This is a really good book, because you might have to get to know all those all of those best religious people they have been around here. But it's a good thing, because you need to get to know that stuff. This is when before the Anglo Americans, the Britishans and Jews, atheists, and kind of people who do want it for California for money, and who do what they want for war before they had to sign a treaty of Halago. Well, that's just getting too much limits, because that's the reason why that was some president's idea, who trying to give the fact was James, because James was just he's giving on treaty for all those Spanish people who don't want it. Because if they want the Alta California to secede, they wanted to join the union. But that could be a big problem, because if you don't want that, well, that's the problem, because you need to keep all the solve their things, to keep all the missionaries and the Spanish people what they wanted, and they just want to have to keep their ways for the paper what they wanted, because people of the Las Californias who have the treaty, the Hidalgo de Guadalupe, for years. They've been there for a long time when they have them. But now, I don't know where they are now. Because this is a hard thing to do, because, if Mexico's already been declared independence, and Texas has been almost just trying to get a link to get into the statehood, but they don't know there is things that had to go up, because before it was United States, but it was been have when they wanted to become as the British, because they've been have there for many years, and back in the East Coast times before they dropped down some all those 13 colonies by George Washington. You know what I mean? And you have to demand yourself, because this might be a part of in the Alta California book, because they've been have baptized about 100,000 people that have been done before since for many years when they have. And they may have like about 200,000 people total around many years from Alta California who are the Native Americans, also known as the Indios. And you'll have to understand what kind of these people, what they have, because there's a lot of Spanish people who have been researched, have been all together. They've been all together because they're living in their time and their journey. They've been crossed up to their lives. And the most popular presidents that ever seen this before, it was all about Pedro, I think. Well, don't see it in the mind because the only president of the most best presidents of all time of the Californians of Alta California is all about Jose Joaquin. But you know this guy before, but he's been part of the Los California as well too. But he had been there a few years. But he's a great guy to be part of it in this government because people will have to remember all the hostages that have been known for like since like 1800s or 1810s, but they've been brought up so much when they were been made music from their culture when they made choir musics, because when they make choir musics, that's all like combining of the genres that have been used is guitar, piano, then it was violin, cellos, and it's drums and some instruments that you can use, but flute can be used as well too, and organ can be used too, because those are some of the instruments that have been evolved and invented to themselves here in California, because they've been having very good traditions of the California's music, because they've been have like one of those big stars, and for the first star that have been have is El Juan, because Juan is the only person, and the rest of the artists who have been to among to themselves. But you might check on the book because this is more like so many good California artists to live their lives of the future. Because if you want to get to know them, like in the past, during the dreams, well, there's the one thing you can think about, because I know you can just figure things out and try to make something that's more historic to all those people what they have right now, because people, when they want to create their own, like during the today, well, choir music has still been popular a little bit, but I just don't see the mind if they can sing in Spanish and English combined together, like Flora de Luce, I think, or me among others. I don't know. Well, how the hell are you gonna go to find those California musics? Well, I know there's some of the songs that you can find it on YouTube, but don't remind how the music can be so much popular in that much, because I know some stuffs that you can look up something much better, because I know some part of the people who they have among them before, because Alta California is a part of the relationship to one of the countries. What they have is Catalonia, because Catalonia was the only place that they have been there for many years. They've been have a bigger country before Spain has been culturalized, since they have been expelled before they settled back where it was. And it's hard to deal with the viceroyalty of the New Spain, because of the tensions war between the Alta California and Mexico, because the Californios, Mexicans, and Spaniards. Well, that's one thing, because Spaniards are all of the first Hispanics that they've been thinking about. Do you know who's the first Hispanics in the first place? It's all about the Spaniards, then the Californians. Those are the guys they've been have there for among them for many years. But don't remind all those two categorized people what they know altogether since histories. Because, New Spain is the one that's part of it into their lives. Because the reason why they have been extreme culturized for a very long time. And you might understand it because there are many people that can crush their lives. And there's so many people that can die their lives from the poor. But you might understand it how the Hmong and histories is like. But but it makes sense how this book can be like so much pure, but nothing but art, but joyful, but don't remind how this is gonna be end up looked up very bad. But Alta California has been built up so much when they happen in the culture. Plus, politics can get something that can get notified and advised and entreated to themselves. Because the reason why there are some people that can run the people's mouth, but it's not like those people in churches, they even have to destroy their lives and then have to rebuild it. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to believe what the people of the Native Americans or some people who don't have any among people to get along. But it's good to know that you need to feed them themselves all together, because you want the people, they have to give them great choices, because Alta California is such a great place, but chill place. But sometimes it can be dangerous when they have war. You know what I mean? But it's just only that those are known factors that the politics they just can't have, because some of the locations they just don't know what kind of people they have, like Negroes. Well, Negroes are friendly, but you just don't know who they have come from since many years. But they've been a part of the Negroes before, when they used to become as the Black Khalifas, Paleo Indians. Those are the colors are before the Negroes. And you might have to get to know those stuff, because they're not African American. They're like people who are from there for many long time, for many years. Like some of the stars in the Hollywood they were seen like today, like Miguel or Kobe Bryant or Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and plus I know some stars. They come out something good into their lives before they raise as Californians to United States people who aren't in the half before, who parted in this culture, or among others, so what they can speak with. You know what I'm saying? Because if you want to talk about what are the Judah Negroes is, you'll have to look it up in YouTube, because there are some big species of how Paleo Indians are come from. You might get to know that stuff. And that's the cultures that we were talking about, because Paleo Indians, Black Khalifas, produces Negroes are not African or African American. They're not. They're just people has been born to the lives of the people whom they have, especially for Native Americans too. Same thing. And you have to might understand what in the histories of the haplogroups and the pitch of the places they've been known together of the Alta Californias and the 21 missionaries and their discoveries. That makes sense? Well, I hope you can make sense very well, because this should be it. And plus right now, well, California just end up succeed right now, so we'll find out, see if the Russians can deal with it, the Republicans, they can deal with it, and add a flag to have it. They don't know if they're going to have to deal with it or not. I'm pretty sure the Republicans are going to have to deal with, which is ever like is, maybe Russian could be part of the Republic, then the independence flag would be, let's say the new California Republic. So it's going to be two this time. I wish that they can get a third one if it was Mexico, but it's not going to happen. But we know Calix, it's going to be all together between Baja California and Alta California all together. And that combines New California Republic. And that's going to become as Californians or Californicans or Californians. I don't care what kind of entities we are. And that's going to be a new part of the future by today but they don't know when that's going to be